probably looks a little weird. There's a few reasons for that. One is, let me just get stuff adjusted here. So one thing is that we're working in minimal mode, which I don't do very often. Maybe I don't do often enough, but it's basically where the textures are, they're minimum, just like the name implies. If we go into camera here, yeah. It's for performance reasons, basically. Normally I don't like to do this, or I just don't tend to do it very often, but there's a lot of polys in this scene. And actually when I got to a certain point filling out this city scene to kind of cover all the gaps of what will be visible, when I added in these the buildings that are represented by white rectangles now, performance really started to crawl. Which it's no small feat to get that to do that for this PC, but apparently those buildings that are in these spots are they're particularly heavy on the system. So what I ended up doing is for each place here where there's a block that's just, you know, it's a substitute, I went through and documented all the position info and the asset type for these buildings. Unfortunately, I didn't modify any textures on them, so I don't have to worry about that. But that's the positions of everything that's now occupied by those white rectangles. Basically what I can do is, because I know they're the right buildings and size and look and everything that I want there, so I can go ahead and finish with the animation on the scene and then bring those buildings back in basically right before I render. Maybe right before I tweak lighting. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be a little sluggish once those come in here, because the next thing that I want to add is this section here is like a little, kind of like a little park, city park. And so I need trees, quite a few trees in here. And I want to decorate the street with some, you know, some greenery and stuff. And I have a feeling that is going to also be a performance drag. So we'll see how this goes. This may be a reason why Unreal Engine may be better suited for some of this stuff. See, right now it's performing really nice, but with all those buildings in place, if I would, you know, select and just nudge, move, or rotate or anything, any object in the scene, the whole thing would slow down on me, and I have to wait. At its worst, it was like 15-20 seconds before the controls would, you know, before the hourglass would stop spinning. And yeah, I did that for a couple hours and finally said, yeah, no, can't keep doing that. So we're going to, I want to add some fairly evenly spaced street lamps here. Now, it's not a nighttime scene, so these won't be lit, but I think it helps make the decor a little better. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the second street lamp, measure the space between them, and then space them out evenly the rest of the way down this side of the street. And then I'll probably do the same thing on the other side of the street. So why don't we put one right here? And let's round off these Y values. Let's make this 3620. And this one is at negative 2400 on the y-axis. So 2400 to 3620, so these are what is that? Ugh. It's late and I'm tired. I don't want to trust my brain for that math, so what am I doing? 3620. It's like 1220, right? Yeah, okay. So the next light, I'm just hitting Control and click to drag those. So the next light will be 2400 minus 1220. So 1180. Okay, unfortunately, that ends up right where I really wanted that hydrant to be, but it's not really a problem. We'll just nudge the hydrant a little bit. And I like this storm drain being in front of that too. Okay. So, next street light will be at 40. Next one. Sorry for the inverted negative sign there. I hope that's not driving anybody crazy. So this one's at 2480. We're not quite to the end of the street. Okay. So next. Alright, we should have room for one more. I have no mouth and I must scream. Hey, Zana. You know, that sounds somewhat familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint the reference. Okay. Yeah, they look good down the line. So, should we just replicate them at the same points across the street? Like so. And then we just need to rotate them 180 degrees. Well, pivot point isn't quite lined up right for that, but that's fine. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so what is I have no mouth and I must scream? Short story by Harlan Ellison. Published back in '67, one of the most haunting and accidental struggle works of science fiction I've ever read. Well, I do love sci-fi, and I actually love haunting sci-fi, so I will definitely have to check that out. Okay, I think that's what I've heard of. I didn't play it, but I've heard of the PC game by that name. I did not realize it was based on an Ellison story. That's cool. Did you ever play the game? Yeah, did you ever play it? And I'm curious what kind of game it was. Was it, I'm trying to think of what other games were around in the mid-90s. That would have worked, what genre, what type of game would have worked well for sci-fi horror? Would it have been classified as like as an adventure game? They were kind of in their heyday then. Point and click adventure horror, okay. It is amazing how many things, how many games there are that you can find like full playthroughs on YouTube. I don't think there's ever been a game that I've searched for that for and haven't found that somebody has played it and recorded the game, which I appreciate. Especially the ones I like it when they play it through with no commentary. Maybe with certain games it's better with commentary, but I like it when it's just the playthrough. Alright, we could fit one more here, I think. It's going to be 2,400. Oh, he was involved in its production. That's cool. Amazing Digital Circus. I've not heard of that one. I've really been enjoying some animated stuff lately, though, after, you know, I watched a lot of Machinima, of course, but some TV animated stuff, a lot of which was like pandemic era produced. What's the one I'm watching now? Common Side Effects, which was originally made for Adult Swim. Fantastic story. Got the recommendation actually from an author who I admire his work, Jason Pargin. He's big on you may not know his name, but I'm sure you just about everybody knows his face because he's really big on TikTok. All right, so this is 3620. I think 3620 is going to be too far. Yeah, it's out in the street there. So, why don't we plop this one right on the corner. Like so, and then we're going to turn it about 45 more degrees. So, Amazing Digital Circus. So that's a web series. Okay, so that shouldn't be hard to find. I will look for that. You have piqued my interest, sir. Okay. So we really only need to worry about what we can see. And the furthest that we're ever going to be able to see, or the furthest, closest vantage point, is where this car ends up stopping. Right about there. So if we can see the car, then it can see us. So we don't need to worry about any more stoplights on this side of the street here. But I think over on the other side of the street, we should. So I think the next street light should be just past this bus stop, and that's probably the last one we'll have to do. Alright, let's get it rotated around 90 degrees. Here's a question for you, Xana, if you're still here, since you like sci-fi. Have you watched Pluribus, the new Vince Gilligan series on Apple? It is delightful. If you've not seen it, it's highly recommended. Not animated, but very, very good. Which, if you've watched anything from Vince Gilligan, that probably will come as no surprise. The man and his team, they know how to deliver, that's for sure. Okay, that's all the streetlights we need. Unless, do we need some... on the street passing by, or do we need any stoplights? I feel like we should have stoplights here. I just don't think I have any stoplights. Which seems a little crazy. They don't even have to light up, but it would be nice to have something here, either across the top or something to just make that intersection feel a little more real. Let's see what we've got. We'll go ahead and do a quick save here. And let's see if we've got any stoplights. We've got a stop sign. Oh, we should look through the custom folder. Under props, just a stop sign. It's not really something I can build. Got too much irregularity. So why don't we see if we can find one? Just bear with me here. I'm pulling up Fab and then I'll show it to you. Let's have a look-see. Are there any stoplights that are free? No. Maybe it's called a street light? Okay. those are just lamp posts. We already have plenty of that. This thing has a bunch of stuff, but that's made just for Unreal. A little too much conversion there. This isn't bad. Okay, so traffic light. That's the search term. Now we're cooking. Okay, I like this. This is a possibility. All right, those are the ones. It's kind of cheapo looking. That's much, much better for sure. All right, so this is personal license. We'll add to library. We'll download it. FBX. Emperor's New Groove. That was a Disney animated one, if I'm not mistaken, right? I assume, I don't think I ever saw that one, so I assume it's, really, it is funny, huh? I mean, I love the old tale that I assume that it's based on The Emperor's New Clothes. But I don't think I ever saw that movie. 25 years, so it was released in 2000? Yeah, that was at that strange, at that point in my life where, yeah, 2000 was a rough year for me. Didn't watch a whole lot in that year at all. And it's 5 years before I was, you know, had kids, so that's when I really kind of had a renaissance of appreciation for the Disney classics, but I don't think we ever got around to that one. I'll have to check it out if it's funny. I love good funny movie for sure. All right, so we're just getting our traffic light ready here. All right, looking good. So let's bring us in a prop. So does Emperor's New Groove, does it stick to the Emperor's New Clothes storyline, or does it embellish on that? All right, we're just going to bring in our model here as a prop. 22 meshes. What would we need those for? Maybe to turn the lights on and off? Okay. So the question is, where did the prop go? Is it really tiny? Or really big? Kind of hard to get a sense of scale there, so let's bring in a character so we can just see it next to the guy. Well, if I bring in a character, it's going to wipe out bringing this in, so why don't we just go ahead and texture it up first and save it, and then we can load a character and scale it. Call it traffic light. Man, what in the world is with all those meshes? And they're unlabeled. Okay, but they are the individual lights and pieces, so I guess that's handy, I guess. They all get the same material, So that means we can select all of these. And then let's get our textures. All right, so we're just going to drag these into place here. It's staying really dark, but I know the reason for that, and we'll be able to fix that in just a moment here. Basically, if the ambient light texture is set to its lowest value, or black, then you won't actually see the textures. It's nothing to panic about them. It's a strange little opacity map. Oh no, CC4 crashed. I wonder if I've got some memory issues because of the iClone project. I mean, I guess it's not critical that we have all right, let's do this. Let's close iClone. We don't need this anymore. We're going to try this again. This time we'll bring in a character so we can size this model up. All right, let's open up somebody. Bring in Cammy. All right. Now let's bring in this traffic light right next to her. And let's try it without breaking it up into subprops. Maybe that'll make texturing it a lot easier. And my goodness, where is this thing? Okay, it's right at her feet, and it's just, I guess it's just really tiny. Is it? Okay, there's a possibility that the thing, okay, it's not attached to the foot. So if we bring it up now, I still don't see it. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Crazy. Okay, so let's scale it down. So what would be the appropriate scale next to a person? That's pretty close, but that's still a little bit too big, don't you think? That's a little too much, so that seems about right. Doesn't it? Maybe a little more? Nah, I think this is right. Okay, so while we're here, let's fix the pivot so that it's placeable by the actual pole. Yeah, that'll just make it easier to properly control the placement of it. Okay. And I guess the facing on it is fine. Okay. Now, we'll call it traffic light. And why don't we go ahead and save it, because if it crashes, then at least what we've done thus far isn't wasted. Do we have a section for street stuff or roads? I guess we could do outdoor. We could throw it in outdoor. Okay, so we're going to save that as the traffic light. Okay, we'll update the thumbnail when we save it for real. Okay, so now we've got just one thing to add materials to. This should make it a lot easier to deal with. So if we just drag this on there, boom. And look at that, the lighting is actually, that blackened texture thing only happened when we opened it, split up into parts. I wonder why that is. That's a mystery to me. Okay. So it doesn't look awful. But you notice when I move it through the light, there's a little bit of flicker going on there. Might be a little too early to judge. We need to get the rest of the shader in place, so let's do that. There's the emissive and metallic and the normal map. Roughness. This should help with that weird shine. Okay, now it's at least shining like a metal, which is good. Okay, so I think I see. Okay, so the mesh, the things are still there. They're just not as separate subprops. So we should still be able to individually control lights, which is good. But right now, the ambient color is low, and the diffuse color is low. And I think I want to have it be fully bright. We can always dim it later. Okay. I don't see the emission working here. Interesting. Because what would be cool is to be able to just turn on one light. I wonder if we should go through and try to label those. We probably should. Okay. So let's hide Cammy. And let's save this again with the right thumbnail. We're going to overwrite. Yes. Alright, that's more like it. Now, there is still the opacity map. This crashed it last time. Let's see if it does now. It does not. And look at that. Now we're talking. So that's why the opacity map is important. Okay. It looks like maybe the opacity map is a little bit off, isn't it? See how it's partly covering? Huh. No, that's not a function of the opacity map. That's a function of... There's a flaw in this texture. Do you see it? That. The fact that these dots are not filled in, that's why they're not lighting up. What a weird thing. I wonder why he did that. Or he or she, whoever made this. I wonder why they did that. Because I think what we would want, if I'm not mistaken, we would want all those to light up the same. So why don't we try a little magic wand here. Let's go up in tolerance a little bit. There we go. And then if we say... I think we should fill these in. Because otherwise it's a... I mean, if it was supposed to be a defect, like some of the lights being out or whatever, that's a weird way to be defective. You know, maybe you would knock out some of these. What are they? Are they LEDs? I'm not 100% sure on that. But we would want it to be something that looks like an accidental failure. Yeah, I think this is worth this effort. This is going to fix a problem. Doesn't have to be perfect, because these end up being quite tiny, but now there will be a surface that the emission texture will be able to work from. And that reminds me, we should probably check that emission texture over the top of this. So if we go back over here, let's open up this guy too. Look at that, they're missing. Okay. Okay. So this texture is 4096. They're both 4096. That's crazy inefficient, but okay. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it as a new layer on there. And then what can we do? I suppose what we need to do is first select this, and copy it, And then we need to be able to see through here where the dots are. Like so. Oops. Don't do that. Okay. So if we paste... No, that's the wrong thing. Copy that. Paste it here. Fantastic. I would love to ask the creator of this model why he did things that way. But I guess we will never know. Alright, and then let's select a nice sized red dot. Copy it. And then let's fix this one. Okay. Okay. That's more like it. All right, so we're going to bring this back up. Oh, come on. Get up there. There we go. Okay, we're going to copy that. And let's just paste it right over the top of the old one. Perfect. And then on this, we get rid of that. All right, so we save our emission texture. And we save our diffuse texture. And that should mean when we go back over into iClone, yay, full working lights. Fantastic. All right, let's save what we've got done. Just in case anything crashes, we're in good shape. That seems like a good thumbnail. Overwrite it. Okay. All right, now let's see if we can figure out I wonder if the only way to do it is going to be to... So if we make those invisible, weird. Wonder why they did that. Okay, that's a bummer. Because what it means is the way we brought this in, those are all always going to be on. I would want these to be controllable. Okay. So I think we need to make another go at bringing in this prop with the separate subprops, and let's just see if it gives us that control. All right, so we're going to overwrite that. Okay. Let's go back over to the scene, and we'll get rid of that. Let's make her visible for reference again. And let's try this one more time, see if we can do this without it crashing on us. This time we're going to say yes. And I know that we need to adjust our scale. Actually, before we do that, let's bring this guy back in one more time. And it's just a little nitpick, but I really prefer move him into some better light. There we go. That is better. Alright, and we want to reset the scale. This will just be at 100. Just so I don't have to do that every single time. And then let's just overwrite this back into the library. Okay. So that's our always-on traffic light. This is traffic light working. Let's be optimistic in how we name it, yeah? Okay, so we need to downgrade, well, first of all, we need to put that in the right place and then zero these things out. And then I think we settled on 18 as the scale. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's try out some texturing here. We're just going to texture this and see what happens. So let's bring this in there. And look at that, we got nothing. Huh. So let's not waste memory with that then. This must be the traffic light. Oh, that's the pole. Hopefully just the pole. Okay, so that definitely needs texture. We're going to rename these things so they make some more sense. So this is what? Is it that box? It is. How do we want to number these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is box 6. That, I don't know what that is. What even is that? So, oh, it's just this with the pivot off. This is the shroud. Okay. Shroud 6. Shroud 7. That's box 7. That seems like it might be the red light. Or is it a cover? Oh, okay. That's how you could control the light being off. Okay. Box red. Box yellow. Cover yellow. Okay, this is actually pretty clever what he's done here. Box green. Cover green. Cover 4. Box 4. Box 3. Okay, I'm starting to get what he's doing here. What is that? What is it? So I'm wondering if that's the actual light. So why don't we open up all these covers? I suppose we could try moving it to determine for sure what it is. Let's do that. Alright, I don't know what it is. We'll leave that one as a mystery one for now. Alright, so we're going to call that bracket. How about this one? Huh. I'm really perplexed by that. I don't know what those are. It might be something inside. I'm just not sure how it matters. Weird. Okay, so how come we can't remove the covers from these? Okay, so the pole includes the actual lights. That's disappointing. Okay, but it doesn't matter because we can manipulate the cover. Okay. Pole plus lights. Lights, plural. Alright, so I still don't know what these things are. And why we can't get at the covers here, unless there are no covers here. Those are boxes 6 and 7, right? There is a cover on there. Okay, so maybe that's part of what that opacity map opens up. Let's optimistically assume that is the case. Okay. Let's save what we got so far. Traffic light working. Okie dokie. So. Pole plus lights. Supposedly. Alright, well, let's bring in the other stuff, see what happens. Problem is I'm just not seeing. I'm not seeing. Well, the pole is definitely changing. Oh, and the lights are covered, so we wouldn't see those. Okay, so we're in the right vicinity here. So if we go roughness and okay, moment of truth, opacity. Yeah, so those are not coverable. That's unfortunate. So if we wanted to have it be flashing for walk or stop, we're gonna have to figure out how to do that. We might need to do it with some kind of a primitive somehow, because he basically made that all part of the same mesh, and the only way that these are shining through is from the opacity map. That's a bummer. Okay, well, so far mostly good. Let's keep going here. We're just gonna bring in, this is gonna be a little tedious, but we're gonna bring in all of these. Yeah, it looks really good. We do not want to bring in the opacity or the emissive for these. Alright, so let's get a little bit adventurous here. We're going to try and do all three of these at once. And we can't. Okie dokie. It is what it is. If the end result is a working traffic light, then I think it's worth the time. Because it's not like this will be the only project where a working traffic light will be helpful. I'm going to crank up the music for a bit. If you pop into chat, I'll turn it down and talk to you.
get some cash in the strip club. Whoa, baby.
Alright. That's gonna do it for tonight. It's getting pretty late, and the next phase of things is a little time consuming, so there's no sense starting on something like that at this time. Yeah, it's coming together though. If I end up streaming some more of this project, I'll get into more detail of what I've been thinking about. One thing that I noticed is, and I've noticed this before, but I didn't really know exactly what was happening. But basically, when a camera is looking through a texture that makes use of any level of opacity, anything above 0, well, anything that's not 0 or 100, I guess is the thing. So anything with partial opacity, with translucency, it breaks the depth of field calculator. So you notice that I've got depth of field going on this camera, but everything visible through the windows as well as in the car and all this and all through the back window, no matter how far away it actually is. This surface, I assume this front windshield here is getting picked up for the depth of field calculation. And I'm not sure if there's a way to make like a surface ignore depth of field, like, or get depth of field to ignore a surface. But you notice if I take the car away, now all the focus is on him as it should be. And everything, there's gradual depth of field going back there, just like it should be. And if it weren't for the windows in the car, that would be working for the car too. In fact, if I bring the car back, if we go in here and look at the materials, I think this is the one for the, yeah, this is the one for the windows. So if I remove the opacity, there you go. Depth of field works. Obviously, it's full translucency, then, you know, I'm not getting anything out of it. So I'm not 100% sure what to do with that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to research and see, is there a way to get depth of field to ignore a particular mesh or a particular object? Because if there is, then what I could do is separate out the glass of the car to be a separate but attached object, and then set that to be ignored by depth of field. If that's not possible, then as weird as this is, I think what I'm going to have to do to get, I like the translucency of the windshield, especially with the fact that it's got grit on it. So I think I'm going to have to render, this is the worst case scenario, I'm going to have to render a second pass. The original pass of the scene, I'm going to have to render with the windshields, all the glass, completely at zero opacity, so not visible at all, so that depth of field will work properly for everything else. And then I'm going to have to run, oh wow, yeah, it gets complicated. But I think what I'm going to have to do is run a separate render just over an alpha channel background that is just the windshield, or just the side windows if it's from that camera, and then put it on in compositing. What a pain in the butt. I can't get all the windows because then it will, when we go to composite it, he'll be in the way. And I don't want to do multiple layers. Yeah, it's dicey. So hopefully I can figure out a way to get depth of field to ignore this object somehow without making it completely transparent. Bummer. Anyway, something to research. But everything else is coming together nicely. The tree planting and all that went great. Performance has not dipped at all. I've been working in medium. I could switch over to high and it's still going to be fairly decent. I get some of those HDR effects that I was, you know, there's some glow and things like that, which is what I really wanted to see. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. What do you know? I just found the fix. Depth of field must operate at a lower level of calculation in medium mode. When I switched over to high, guess what? Depth of field is working. Oh, I'm glad I didn't spend time tomorrow researching that. Oh man, I was thinking of making a video and showing it on some forums, you know, like the iClone Facebook groups and stuff like that, and asking questions. Boy, I would have looked like an idiot. Yeah, depth of field works just fine through the translucent, or through that surface. Let's see on this one. Oh yeah, I like the use of those flowers. Added some nice color there. And obviously there's going to be sky and cityscape in the background there. Okay. So that shot looks great. Let's check out our driver's side. Yeah. Just a little bit of blur. Oh, that's nice. On this close-up, there's even more blur. Oh, yeah. That's gorgeous. Okay. I'm a little unhappy with how much he bounces. It's a little too much. So I'm going to have to address that. That's an animation loop issue. And then we've got the camera sign. That looks great. Might want to adjust depth of field on that a little bit. This is a little too in focus, maybe. Maybe not so bad. That's going to be a zooming shot anyway. And then his reaction shot. We actually won't see that until he's already here. But yeah. Depth of field works through the windows. Okay, thank goodness. Look how that glare, the dirt on the windshield from the wind wiper shows up there. I love that. Okay, so we've got a few more shots to set up and some tweaking, and then the final thing will be to bring in the high-res versions of those missing buildings. And then I got to kind of plan out the rendering. I'm going to have to render different sections of this at different times and stuff. What is that? It's weird that that bounding box changes shape like that. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Huh. It might be one of the wheel objects that I put on there. I've made those invisible now, but I used those to do the geometry to figure out how fast to make the wheels turn so that it looks right. Which is really only important for this shot. To where they look like they're spinning at the right speed based on how fast he's moving on the pavement. Yeah. That'll look better without the grid there. So yeah, I think what I need to do is I need to put together a checklist to keep track of what's remaining. But really good progress on this today. Very happy with it, and I think it's gonna fit the music that goes with it is just gonna fit really, really well. So yeah, what a relief that FOV is fixed. I'm really pleased about that. That's just really great. I have run into FOV issues before in iClone, and actually enough to where I kind of stopped trying to use it, figuring, well, that's something I'll dig into when I get into Unreal Engine, because if you've ever seen, the depth of field that's possible in there, it's pretty excellent. It's not always great looking, but just like lighting and rendering and all that stuff, figuring it out, like how to do it properly, is way more important is as important as the engine's capabilities itself. Yeah, this is terrific. Okay. Good progress. I'm signing off for now. As you can tell, I'm kind of tired. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.